So we're going to solve this equation by getting first rid of all the fractions. So to do this, we first have to find the common denominator of all three of these fractions. So of 3, 2, and 4. So the common denominator for all three of these numbers is 12. So to get rid of these fractions, we're going to multiply everything through by 12. So multiply both sides by 12. So we're going to distribute this. Now I'm putting in a few additional steps. You might be able to do some of this by skipping a couple of these steps. But we're going to distribute the 12 to each one of the terms. So we have 12 over 3y plus 12 times 3 over 2y plus 1 equals 12 times y minus 1 over 4. So as you can see, we can reduce some fractions here. So the 12 reduces with the 3. We get 4 on top. So here we can reduce the 12 with the 2. And on the right side, we can reduce the 12 with the 4. Okay, so what we have left over now is 4y plus 18, because we have 6 times 3, times y plus 1 equals 3 times y minus 1. So we are just going to multiply through. So 4y doesn't change for now, plus 18y plus 18 equals 3y minus 3. Okay, so now we have just a simple equation. We want to combine the like terms first. So 22y plus 18 equals 3y minus 3. So let's subtract 3y from both sides first. So here we get 19y plus 18 equals negative 3. So now I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides. So we get 19y equals negative 21. And the last step is to just divide both sides by 19. So we get negative 21 over 19. So, and that doesn't need to be simplified anymore. This is just good enough. So let's go on to the next problem, which is a completing the square problem. So the first thing we want to do is move the negative 11 to the other side. So we're going to add 11 to both sides. So that gives us 2x squared plus 8x equals 11. Now notice I left a space because we want to complete the square. But actually one thing that we want to do before we complete the square is the 2 in front of the x squared, we only want 1 as a coefficient when we complete the square. So I'm actually going to divide through both sides by 2 to get rid of the 2. Okay, so on the left side, I'm going to have x squared plus, we have 8 over 2, which gives us 4x. Now, really, we will need the space now, equals, and on the other side, we have 11 over 2. It's a fraction, but that doesn't matter. We'll take care of that later. Okay, so we're going to add something for the completing of the square, and remember, you have to do the same thing to both sides. So this guy right here is our b term. To complete the square, what we have to do is b over 2 and then squared. So we're going to put right here b, which is 4 over 2 squared. And it's positive because the 4 is positive. If we had a negative b term, then we're going to put negative inside the parentheses. So we do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now as we go on with this, we want to change the left side to a binomial square. So we have x, and then we look at the inside term here, the 4 over 2, because that's what we need. So because it's positive, we get plus, and 4 over 2 is just 2. So let's just simplify right here, and then we put a square on the outside. On the other side, we have still the 11/2 plus, now we simplify 4 over 2, remember that's 2, and we square it, so that gives us 4. Okay, so we still continue to simplify the right side. We need to find a common denominator, and the common denominator is 2. So that gives us 8/2. So combine those two fractions, we get 19/2. Okay, so now we are ready to solve for x. So we have x plus 2 squared, so the first thing we need to do is get rid of the square. So to do that, we square root both sides. So on the left, we just get x plus 2. When we square root the other side, remember, when we take the square root of a square, we always need to put plus or minus. So square root of 19 over 2. Okay, so there's one more step because we don't want the 2 with the x. We want the x by itself, so we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So we're going to get x equals -2, and then we have plus or minus square root of 19 over 2. And that's our answer for this problem.